What's up? Welcome to Wonderneath Weekly. My name's Danny Suede. Since I'm retired from social media, this is how I share my life and what I'm up to and what I'm doing and what I'm thinking about. So today, we got a couple things. Haven't eaten for 42 hours. Saw my first dead person, and a lot of other stuff. So we'll just jump right into it. And I just basically do these weekly updates on Substack weekly updates on Substack each week, and then walk through it here live and talk about everything more. But yeah, it's interesting with the fast. I'll start with that. Um, Literally only coffee, black tea, salt, water. That's it for 72 hours. And today I'm actually feeling pretty good. Yesterday was pretty rough. I was having a lot of muscle aches and stuff. I was going to go for 4 days instead of three, but my dumbass thought there was like all the electrolytes you need in salt, but it's just sodium, but you still need magnesium and potassium. And yeah, so I wasn't getting those, and that can cause muscle issues, so and nerve issues, and obviously your brain's made of nerves. So I was like, okay, I don't want to go too crazy, but I was thinking about quitting yesterday. I was like, oh, I'm quit. I don't have magnesium, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna go 3 days and not be a wuss, because it's crazy the stuff your brain will do to like get you to eat when you're hungry. But I've done it before a few times. Mainly, why I'm doing it is for autophagy, which is when your body basically breaks down and eats its own cells, mainly the damaged tissue and damaged cells. So it kind of goes through and cleans your body when you don't eat. Your autophagy ramps up like crazy, and especially around the 2 to 3 day mark, it just starts going crazy and just cleaning out all the damaged tissue and cells and everything. So I do it every now and then for like a cleansing effect, but I'm also experimenting with the psychological effects because time starts to freaking slow down. You get really like weak and you feel like slow mo and everything's like whoa, and like it's weird because you get increased mental clarity, but I don't think it's because you get like more brain power. I think it's almost like you get less. So usually I can focus better because my brain's usually like this all over the place. Whoa, 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 whoa. But when I don't eat right and I get in this fasted state, it's almost like the brain is like, whoa. So it's like you kind of just like zoning in on something and like dialing in, which I like. And that's why I want to try and go for longer because surprisingly, I'm feeling much better today. I've got a bit of a headache, but yesterday my muscles were hurt and my legs were really aching, and I was like, oh no. But I woke up today feeling pretty good. So I think I'm gonna try to go for like a 4 or 5 day once I can get like some electrolytes. Cause here I was trying to buy electrolytes, but every single thing that has potassium and magnesium also has sugar, glucose, or like calories, which breaks your fast and stops the autophagy. So I'm like, if I eat that to like get the electrolytes, well then it defeats the purpose of the fast. So I'd been doing longer meditations too, and my meditation yesterday, like the visuals were crazy. I was like sitting there, did a 45-minute ripper, and I like the visuals were like, oh, whoa, like was seeing all kinds of weird stuff, and like it was pretty cool. And just I was dialed. I was getting tons of work done. I was very focused. Yeah. But yeah, I feel really weird, and I also wanted to do the fast this long so you could see what I'm like. Um, Yesterday I would have been like, "Hey everyone," but today I'm kind of feeling good and pretty dialed. It's about 8:40 a.m. So, anyways, this is me with no food for 48 hours. I'm gonna eat at 11, so I got about an hour and 20 minutes till I can eat. I'm gonna drink some milk and then I'm gonna eat some pho, baby. Pho in Vietnam, dude, so good, dude. And then I get like a beef stir fried noodles, and then once I eat all the pho, I put the beef stir fried noodles in the pho broth. I've been thinking about it, baby. Thinking about it. Another thing I'll say about the fasting that's good is that, um, man, it makes you appreciate food so much. And like even I'd get my coffee, my black coffee, and just smelling it, I'm just like, oh, like so good. I love it, and so it really makes you appreciate that kind of stuff, like that you just get to eat every day. Um, so yeah, that's that. And then other news, I went and saw Ho Chi Minh, my first dead person I've ever seen, I realized, which is crazy because freaking 29 next month and or this month, and I've never seen a real life dead person. So when I was back in Da Nang, I watched this documentary on the Vietnam War docu-series, and it was so interesting. It blew my mind, and I was like, man, the history is crazy. It's such a wild point in history, and the whole thing was just wild. So I once I learned, I was like, what happened to Ho Chi Minh? How'd he die? Because Ho Chi Minh was like the revolutionary leader of the North, Vietnamese, and kind of the father of modern day Vietnam. So I was like, what happened to that dude? So he died of a heart attack, and against his will, they embalmed him and put him in a mausoleum, and you can go see him. And I was like, no way, you can go see him. I looked up where it was, and it was like, probably 45-minute. It was like an hour with traffic, Uber. So I went with Macy. I was like, hey, you want to go freaking see Ho Chi Minh? And she hadn't seen him, so we go, and you go through security, and it was popping. All Vietnamese people though. I think I saw one other white guy, and I don't think he was American, but all Vietnamese people. And like you go in this big line down the street through all this stuff, like this giant line, but it's pretty fast. But then there's a bunch of guards at the mausoleum. I'll show you the mausoleum here. Switch to this, and I'll show you. Boop. So this is me outside the mausoleum, and you can see one of the guards, so you can get a kind of picture of what's going on there. But anyways, yeah, they make you take. I had like a headband. They made me take it off. No hats. Have to cover your shoulders and knees. You can't talk. So you kind of all file into this building, and you go up a bunch of stairs, and then it's like a U-shaped thing where everyone just walks around, and it has like a moat, and then in the middle is Ho Chi Minh chilling in his freaking box, right? And so we go in. It's very somber and quiet. First thing I think, that's fake. I'm like, that's a wax guy. That's not a real guy. And so I get out of there, and I was like, dude, what is that? And so I'm Googling about it. And apparently, all official sources say it's his real body. But there's been some insider rumors that they replaced him with a wax figure. He's been in there for 50 years. Upon doing more research, they were saying, they do every like 6 months or 3 months, they take him to this lab that also embalmed and handles Lenin in Russia, who my mom went and saw. She told me about it. But, when there's too much decay, they fix it with synthetic stuff, and the embalming process is kind of crazy. So I think it's just that a lot of him actually is fake. They're putting fake stuff on his skin to cover things and new hair or whatever, who knows. So I think technically like maybe his bones are in there and stuff, but it's like really the whole thing is like basically fake. And just synthetic. But like it's kind of him still. So anyways, that was interesting to see that, and like I've never seen that before, so that was weird. And then we went to the museum. Two funny things happened at the museum. One is that when I walked in, this lady comes up to me, Vietnamese lady, and she's like, hey, can you help me take a picture with my brother? And I was like, sure. So I go over there, and her little, cutie little, probably 5 or 6 year old little Vietnamese kid with the hat. And I'm like, whose phone? And she's like, no, you in the picture. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, we want a picture with you in the brothers. So I was like, what? So me and Macy and the little kids like took a picture. So I like crouched down with them and like gave them nugs, and they just think it's cool. I'm a foreigner. I think they don't see foreigners. And I guess a lot of the Vietnamese people from like the countryside and smaller cities come to see Ho Chi Minh, and so they basically don't see foreigners. So for them, it was like, whoa, who's this freaking guy? And then I'm going through the museum, and I'm looking at everything, and seeing all the stuff about the war, right? And the way they frame it, obviously, very different than they frame it in America. Saving the country from America, etc. It's obviously really complicated, but it made me feel kind of insecure and like an asshole, because I'm like, I know what America did. And you can justify the war in some ways, and like, okay, we were fighting communism and people, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I was like, man, after watching the documentary, I was thinking of all the pain and suffering and death and torture that was caused by the United States and persecuted by the United States. And I'm just surrounded by all these Vietnamese people, and I'm just like, ooh, I just felt bad. It was pretty rough, or not rough, but just really weird feeling. But the museum was cool. I freaking love museums, bro. I go to a museum, I'm in cloud 9 in the museum, baby. Love it. So that was cool. And then after that, Macy and I went to McDonald's, and I always like to go to McDonald's in other countries to see what they have. So this one, they had a bunch of fried chicken with the bones in, which is like Indonesia too. And then they have like shake fries where you shake the fries with barbecue sauce. Their chicken nuggets were definitely different. They had like a sausage burger. It's a Royale, like a quarter pounder is like a Royale with cheese. So that was interesting. And yeah, so anyways, that's everything for my talking bit here. I'm going to walk you through the rest of the update here. What I'm wondering about is the body of Ho Chi Minh in the mausoleum an actual body? Went through that. Who is Ho Chi Minh? Went through that. Explaining to me the concept of the Vietnamese dowry ring. So Macy was telling me about this. This is interesting. It's not necessarily Vietnamese, but it's like Asian, Southeast Asian, maybe Chinese thing. But a dowry ring is like this ring where when you buy it, you have to use your ID, and it's like you can only buy one in a lifetime, right? So it's like you have to sign a true love agreement. You can only buy one of these rings in your life. So if you get divorced or whatever and you try to buy another one for someone, you can't because it's connected to your identification and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's cool. I've never heard of that. But I'm like, man, so it's like you give someone that ring because like theoretically you could get married to someone a bunch of times, right? But the dowry ring, literally the company will not let you give it to multiple people. Or like, I guess you could give it to someone else, but you can only buy one. So I was like, oh, that's a cool concept. And the weddings here are interesting. It's like 3 days of stuff and everything. And I was talking to the host, and he was saying that like living with your girlfriend is like pretty much not acceptable in a lot of Vietnamese culture and families and stuff like that. Like you got to get married. But anyways, moving on. What I'm watching, ChatGPT 5. I hate to say it, but I've been using it and it seems retarded. I think it lies. If you watch this, they say, oh, it's so much less deception. But like I saw this video of these guys looking at the graphs that they sent or that they used in this thing about how much better ChatGPT 5 is. And the graphs are like BS. Like I think ChatGPT made the graphs and like, it's like there will be bars of like benchmarks that are at the same level with different numbers. And like the scales are off and like everything's just makes no sense. And it's like such BS. And I think they just use ChatGPT to do this presentation of these graphs and everything, how much better it is. And like how much less deception it has graph is completely deceptive, which is freaking hilarious. So I don't know how much better it is. Agent is really cool. I've been using ChatGPT Agent, and it's pretty cool. What else I'm watching is this new podcast series with Mark Manson called Solved, where they're like 4 or 5, 3.5 to 4.5 hour long podcast episodes about a certain topic that the point of it is it's the last podcast you ever need to watch on it. So I watched this one on procrastination, which goes through like the psychology and philosophy of procrastination from like Plato till now and all the scientific stuff and self-help and everything. And it's really comprehensive and it's pretty cool. I just watched another one on values. It's a lot. They're dense, but it's a cool concept for a podcast I haven't seen before. Okay, let's go photo dump. I'm just going to go through this way so we can see the big photos. This was this morning, and I actually took another cloud picture after this. It was freaking crazy. Beautiful. Montana fam. Man, I just look at this and it just warms my heart. I have such fond memories of the farm in Montana and the side of my family that's over there, and just had such good memories. And just, man, all those people are like the freaking best. Like, I love them. Every time I'm there and I see them, they're just such good people, down to earth, wholesome, good freaking people. And I love them. And I wish my mom's there right now, so she just sent me this, and I wish I could be there, but I'm just so lucky like that. It's such a good family. It's crazy. This is Macy at McDonald's with her gloves. You can see her chicken and her new nose. And yeah, so that's interesting. This is me and Grandma Ginny. Rip, miss you. And me, little baby Dan from the farm again. This is me in a statue of Ho Chi Minh, Uncle Ho. That's the guy. This is me outside the mausoleum, which I showed you. This is some food I had at a restaurant down the street. Pretty good, I will say. And then that's the banner for this week. But anyways, so, okay. That's my update. And now what I'm going to do is go to this new section, which is a new thing I'm doing, which is a paywall. So if you click the link in the description, you can sign up for a paid subscription to this blog. And you will get basically early access to anything new. So this week, you get early access to my Sheets live video. You get my new Bangkok vlog, which I just uploaded, which will come out in a couple weeks, and my photo journal. So you get early access to all that. And then I'm actually going to keep talking here about a couple things I've been thinking about. The main thing being these like mini relationships that I have. Because my whole life's been transient. I'll never stay in the same place. I always move around. So I had these mini relationships with like a million women, and I'm starting to really think about and consider the effects of that and like what it's like. So I'm gonna ponder that live, and also talk about this conversation I had with a dude from Gaza the other day that I called, who's from Gaza, to ask him about the conflict and all that stuff. And yeah, so if you want to get that, just click the link in the description to go to the post, sign up, and you'll get access to all that stuff. The full video will be embedded in the post. Otherwise, you can sign up for these updates for free and get the free versions. Same link in the description. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, and that's what it is.